Hello, welcome to another lecture video of LAW20023, Business Laws and Regulation. So for this lecture video, we will be discussing the powers of a corporation, powers of corporations. So again, as I have mentioned in my last lecture video, I will no longer discuss the matter per section of the law because it will take time to finish all. So what will be included here mostly will be discussions and summary of the powers of the corporation. So hindi siya masyadong sunod-sunod sa kung ano nakalagay sa batas natin. But exhaustive naman yung magiging discussion. So first, we have this introduction. Actually, nabanggit ko na to before nung simula. Pinakauna pa lang, dinedefine pa lang natin yung corporation. Corporation is an artificial being created by operation of law having the rights of succession with powers, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law or those incident to its existence. So yung portion na powers, attributes, and properties, yun yung meron tayong discussion during the intro to the definition of intro ng ano natin, first lesson natin when we were just introducing the concept of a corporation. So dito, medyo umulit siya. Sabi niya dito, a corporation, since it is merely created by operation of law, it can exercise only such powers and can hold only such properties as it is granted to it by the enabling statute. So dahil nakasalalay nga ang buhay o yung creation ng law ng isang corporation sa batas, syempre kung ano lang yung nakalagay dun sa batas, yun lang yung maaaring i-exercise na power ng isang corporation. Kasi dun siya humuhugot ng kanyang ng kanyang, let's see, ng kanyang personality, kumbaga, ng kanyang existence. Kung saan siya kumukuha ng kanyang existence, doon lang din siya kukuha ng kapangyarihan, kanyang powers. Kung ano nakalagay sa batas, dahil nakasalalay nga sa batas, yung kanyang existence, nakasalalay lang din sa batas yung kanyang mga maaaring pwedeng gawin. Okay. So yung powers ng corporations, they are grouped into three. So we have what we call express powers, implied powers, and incidental powers. Again, I recall I have already discussed these three powers before. So ulitin lang natin, express powers are those expressly authorized by the corporation code or the revised corporation code and other laws, and those which are provided in its articles of incorporation. So kung anong, siyempre kaya siya tinawag na express kasi meron kang basihan kung saan nanggaling itong mga kapangyarihan na ito. Pag sinabi mo, ba't mo ba sinasabi na meron siyang power to enter into a contract? Ay, nakalagay kasi sa corporation code yan. Ba't mo ba sinasabi na pwede siyang bumili ng lupa? Eh kasi nasa articles of incorporation yan. Nakasaad doon. Dahil ang sagot mo ay nakasaad doon, ang tawag natin dyan ay express powers. Meron kang basihan, merong kasulatan, merong babasahin, merong nagbabanggit na ito yung kanyang mga pwedeng gawin. Kaya siya tinawag na express powers. Now, pag sinabing implied powers naman, hindi siya nakabanggit, hindi siya nakasulat. Bakit? Kasi implied powers are only those that can be inferred from or necessary for the exercise of express powers. So kung meron ka express powers, pero may mga kailangan kang gawin para gawin yung mga express powers na yon, even if they are not so mentioned as express powers, granted pa rin yun. Kasi hindi mo kunyari may mga bagay kang hindi magagawa na express kung hindi mo idadaan doon sa implied powers. So, example lang, no? Example lang. Hanap tayo dito. Okay, for example ito, to sue and be sued in his corporate name. So, itong nakalagay sa corporation code natin, every corporation incorporated under the revised corporation code has the power and capacity first to sue and be sued in its corporate name. To sue and be sued in its corporate name. Okay. Ibig sabihin, pwede siyang maghabla at pwede rin siyang ihabla bilang korporasyon, no, in its corporate name. Pero para makapaghabla ka, for example, kailangan mong sa batas natin, no, meron kasi tinatawag na verification. Yan, verification. Kapag nagsampa ka ng complaint, dapat merong kasamang verification yung complaint na yan. Kung babasahin natin yung naka-provide sa batas natin, walang nakalagay about to verify complaints. Wala siya. So, ibig sabihin, ang pag-verify ng complaints ay hindi express power. Kasi wala siya sa Revised Corporation Code. Pero, as an express power, meron ang corporation to sue and be sued. Pwede siyang maghabla, pwede din siyang ihabla. Pero para makapaghabla ka, dapat nakapag-verify ka ng complaint. So, ibig sabihin, yung pag-verify ng complaint, dahil incidental siya o kailangan siya, no, importante siya, step siya para doon sa isang express power, which is the power to sue and be sued, in its corporate name, yung pag-verify ng mga complaint ay isa nang considered as implied power. Implied power siya. Kasi it can be inferred from or it is necessary para i-exercise mo yung iyong mga express powers. So meron kang express powers pero kumbaga dahil kailangan ito para magawa ko yung express power ko, implied power siya ngayon. Pero dapat may kinalaman siya sa isang express power. Hindi mo siya pwedeng i-insist kung hindi naman siya patungkol sa isang express power. Kailangan meron siyang kinalaman sa isang express power para siya maging implied power ng isang corporation. And then third, we have this group na tinatawag na incidental powers. Those that are incidental to the existence of a corporation. They are not expressed, they are not implied. Pero for the continued existence of a corporation, kailangan sila. So ang tawag sa kanila ay incidental powers, which are actually expressed, no? Pero hindi nga lang directly express siya. Ipapaliwanag natin later kung ba't ko tinuturing to na express pa rin naman. Anyway, let us proceed. No? Powers under the, nakaharang yung mukha ko, RCC, under the Revised Corporation Code. Okay. Every corporation incorporated under this code has the power and capacity first to sue and be sued in its corporate name. Pwede daw siyang ihabla at pwede daw siyang maghabla bilang isang korporasyon. Hindi kasama yung mga, hindi dahil may mga stockholder, isasama mo na yung mga stockholder dun sa habla. Hindi dahil may mga board of directors or mga officers, sila yung kakasuhan. Hindi ganun. Dahil merong separate juridical personality ang corporation, pwede siyang magsampa ng kaso at pwede rin siyang kasuhan under its name as a corporation. Separate and independent from the stockholders, the directors, the trustees, and the corporate officers. It is also the power of the corporation to have perpetual existence under the certificate of incorporation provided unless the certificate of incorporation provides otherwise. So we have already discussed this one. Pwede siyang magpatuloy ng kanyang existence forever unless nakalagay sa certificate of incorporation na the incorporators chose na siya ay 50 years lang or 25 years or 30 years. Pero pwede siyang mag-exist in perpetuity. It is also the power of corporations to adopt and use their corporate seal. So, meron siyang seal ngayon. Usually, ang design niyan ay bilog. May mga ganyan. No? Pwede ka maglagay ABC Corporation. No? Lagyan dyan sa loob. Pwede mo ilagay yung registration number niya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. etc. So, pwede siya mag-adapt ng kanyang corporate seal. Parang tansan yung nagawa. Ayan, yan na kahit ano na. To amend its articles of incorporation, kakayahan syempre ng isang korporasyon na i-amend yung kanyang articles of incorporation. Medyo nadaanan natin to before, paano ba mag-amend ng articles of incorporation. The corporation also can adopt bylaws which are not contrary to law, morals, public policy, to amend the bylaws and to repeal the bylaws in accordance with this code. So, yung bylaws, again, it is distinct and separate from the articles of incorporation, but most of the time, the execution of the articles of incorporation is made together with the execution, adoption of the bylaws at the time that the corporation is being organized. Sabay na. Kambal sila usually. Although hindi required na pagsabayin yan, pero since andun na kayo sa proseso na yan, pagsabayin na ninyo, yung adoption ng articles of incorporation and adoption of the bylaws, gawin na ninyo during the time that you are organizing formalizing the existence of the corporation. Okay? Kung ano mga nakalagay sa bylaws, meron tayong separate discussion on this one. In case of stock corporations, a corporation may issue or sell stocks to the subscribers or to sell treasury stocks. Treasury, nabanggit na natin ito before, ito yung mga na-issue na, pero binili uli nung corporation in accordance with the provisions of the revised corporation code. And to admit members to the corporation in case of non-stock corporation. Siyempre, anuhin mo ang isang corporation kung wala naman siyang kakayahan na mag-capitalize, no? Or mag-admit ng mga members. Siyempre, pag nag-admit ng members, magbabayad din naman sila ng kanilang membership fee or ng kanilang contribution. So in case of stock corporations, siyempre, dapat authorize yung corporation na mag-issue ng shares. Siyempre, meron niyang consideration. In case of non-stock corporations, dapat meron siyang kakayahan na mag-admit ng members. Siyempre, meron din niyang consideration. Powers din ng corporation to purchase, receive, take, or grant, hold, convey, sell, lease, pledge, mortgage, and otherwise deal with such real and personal property, including securities and bonds of other corporations, as a transaction of the lawful business of the corporation may reasonably and necessarily require, subject to the limitations prescribed by law and the Constitution. Siyempre, dapat may properties ang isang corporation. Pwede siyang mag-acquire ng real properties, pwede siyang mag-acquire ng personal properties pursuant to this provision of the revised corporation code. Pwede siyang magmay-ari in his corporate name. So, pwede kang magkaroon ng certificate of title over land na ang nakalagay na registered owner of that property or of that land ay isang corporation. Possible yan. Or pwede rin siyang mag-acquire ng shares ng ibang corporation. So, maaari na isang corporation ay stockholder in another corporation. In fact, sa Tax 1, meron tayong konsepto ng intercorporate dividends kung saan ang isang corporation ay nag-i-issue ng dividends in favor of another corporation. Again, hindi tax ang topic natin, kundi law. Okay, let's continue with our discussion. Let's go back to our discussion rather. Kung merong kakayahan or merong kapangyarihan ng isang corporation na mag-acquire o mag-own, magmay-ari ng real properties or personal properties, it is also expected na meron din siyang kakayahan na bumili, tumanggap, kumuha, or panghawakan, mag-convey, ibenta, paupahan, i-pledge, i-mortgage, yung mga properties na yan. Diba? Walang silbi naman kung bibigyan mo siya ng karapatan na magmay-ari ng real or personal properties, pagbabawalan mo siyang ibenta, pagbabawalan siyang i-mortgage, pagbabawalan mo siyang i-donate. Hindi pwedeng ganun. Walang kwenta yung attribute ng ownership kung yung walang kwenta ang ownership rather kung yung attributes of ownership ay i-deny mo lang din naman. Diba? Sinabi mo pa na ikaw may-ari nito, pero bawal mo yung ibenta ha. Bawal mo yung i-donate, bawal mo yung paupahan, i-pledge or i-mortgage. Siyempre, di ba, napaka-unrealistic nung ganong klaseng situation na, or not practical, kumbaga, or illogical, na bibigyan mo siya ng right of ownership, pero yung attributes, yung mga karapatan niya, bilang owner, i-deny mo sa kanya. In any case, under the corporation code, malinaw na yan. Kapag yung corporation ay may karapatan na magmay-ari ng real or personal property, it follows na karapatan din niyang mamili, tumanggap, magbenta, magpaupa, i-pledge, i-mortgage yung mga or i-dispose yung mga properties na yan. Subject to the limitations by the laws and by the Constitution. Siyempre, may mga constitutional prohibitions kasi, particularly yung mga foreign corporations, bawal sila mag-acquire ng real properties or lupa here in the Philippines. Although they are allowed to enter into contract of lease mga properties na yun. The revised corporation code also provides that corporations may enter into a contract of partnership, joint venture, merger, consolidation, or other commercial agreement with natural or juridical persons. So pwede siyang mag-enter into a contract of partnership. Bago ito, before, wala siyang kakayahan na mag-enter into a contract of partnership. But ngayon, pwede na, no? Under the revised corporation code. Pwede rin siya mag-merger or consolidation and to undertake merger or consolidation. We have a separate discussion on that one. Or any other commercial agreement, whether with natural persons or other juridical persons. A corporation may also make reasonable donations, including those for public welfare or for hospital, charitable, cultural, scientific, civic, or similar purposes. However, foreign corporations shall not be allowed to give donations in aid of any political party or candidate on for purpose of partisan or for purposes of partisan political activity. Naku, nawala yung domestic corporation. Before, yung domestic corporations and foreign corporations ang may prohibition. Ngayon, foreign corporations na lang ang hindi maaaring mag-donate for political purposes. So, ibig sabihin, ang mga domestic corporations are now allowed to make such donations for political purposes. Whether you are domestic or a foreign corporation, maaari kang mag-donate if ang reason for your donation ay public welfare, hospital, or you are donating in favor of a hospital, charitable, cultural, scientific, civic, or similar purposes. Okay? Okay, another power of a corporation, express power of a corporation, is for the corporation to establish pension, retirement, or other plans for the benefit of the directors, trustees, officers, and most especially yung employees ng corporation. Siyempre, yung corporation ang magsisilbi bilang employer and looking after the welfare of the employees of that corporation. Siyempre, gusto ng corporation na kapag nag-retire, no, kapag dumating yung panahon na magre-retire na yung kanyang mga empleyado, hindi sila malulugmok sa kahirapan. No? So, ang gagawin mo, the corporation may establish a pension fund or a retirement fund or any other plan which is to be established for the benefit of the directors, trustees, officers, and again, most importantly, the employees of that corporation. Allowed siya na magpondo, gumawa ng pondo, mag-establish ng mga pondo na yan as long as it will be for the benefit of these identified individuals. So ito yung sinasabi kong nakalagay sa Revised Corporation Code natin. Supposedly, pag nakalagay ka sa Revised Corporation Code, express ka, pero kung babasahin mo ito, hindi siya express, nakalagay. To exercise such other powers as may be essential or necessary to carry out its purpose or purposes as stated in the Articles of Incorporation. So express siya, binanggit ng Revised Corporation Code. Pero ano yun? Hindi niya binanggit kung ano yun. Sinabi lang niya other powers. Essentially, incidental lang siya. Incidental lang siya as long as itong act na ito, itong transaction na ito ay essential or necessary para magawa niya yung kanyang purpose or purposes na naka-indicate sa kanyang Articles of Incorporation. Okay? Now we have here additional express powers. No? 36. Under Section 36, di ko na nilagay yung laman niya. Power to extend or shorten corporate term. We have discussed this in detail before. Diba? Perpetual ang term ng isang corporation, pero maaari itong kung fixed term siya, yung fixed term na yan ay maaaring pahabain or paikliin. No? Basta pagdadaanan ninyo yung proseso under the Revised Corporation Code. Tandaan, ang corporate term ay nakalagay sa Articles of Incorporation. Kaya naman, if you are to extend or shorten the corporate term, what is required is an amendment of the Articles of Incorporation. 37, under Section 37, the corporation has the power to increase or decrease the capital stock or incur, create, or increase banded indebtedness. So yung capital stock, naka-indicate yan sa Articles of Incorporation. Ito yung maximum, authorized capital stock rather, ito yung maximum na amount of capitalization that a corporation may have. Pero kung kulang na ito, ay kulang na yung ating authorized capital stock, anong gagawin natin? Pwede tayong mag-apply for an increase in our capital stock. Or kapag sobra-sobra naman tong capital stock natin, we can apply for a decrease in our capital stock. Whatever it is, whether it is an increase or decrease in your authorized capital stock, dapat mong tandaan na ang capital stock is an item included in the Articles of Incorporation. Just like Section 36, dahil ito ay nakalagay sa Articles of Incorporation, any increase or decrease in the authorized capital stock requires an amendment of the Articles of Incorporation. Now, meron ka ditong incur, create, or increase banded indebtedness. This one is not included in the Articles of Incorporation. Walang nakalagay doon about banded indebtedness. Pero, kung ang corporation ay, ang sinasabi dito rather, sa Section 37, na isang corporation ay maaaring mag-enter into banded indebtedness. No? Banded indebtedness, utang na merong seguridad. No? Pwede ka mag-incur, pwede dagdagan, pwede pataasan. Ang banded indebtedness, pwedeng mangutang ang isang korporasyon. Yan, sinasabi niya. 38, power to deny preemptive right. Pag sinabing preemptive right, ito yung karapatan ng mga existing stockholders na unahin na i-offer sa kanila kung sakaling merong shares na ibebenta from the unissued capital stock or any increase in the capital stock, uunahin na i-offer sa kanila bago ibigay sa ibang tao. So for example, ang authorized capital stock ay 5 milyon. Ang subscribe na ay 1 milyon. Kanyari 1 milyon na yan pinaghahatian ni A, ni B, ni C, D, E, and F. Hanggang kay ilang? Hanggang kay E. Tig to 200,000 sila. 200,000 each. 200 times 5, that is 1 million. Yan. So, ilan ang percentage nila? Tig to 20%. 20% times 5, across the board yan, 100%. Okay. So, yun yung interest nila, tig to 20%. Ngayon, meron pang portion ng authorized capital stock ang unissued, which is 4 million. If the corporation will decide to issue the unissued, kunyari, out of the 4 million, okay, may 1 million dito na unissued, i-issue na natin. Bago ma-issue, o bago ma-ibenta, o bago ma-offer sa public yung 1 million na yan, uunahin mo munang i-offer yan doon sa existing stockholders. Yun yung preemptive right. Preemptive right. Uunahin mo munang idaan sa akin, i-offer mo muna siya sa akin bago mo siya ibigay sa iba. Preemptive right ang tawag doon. Bakit? Kasi para ma-maintain yung interest ni A, B, C, D, and E. Sabihin mo sa kanila, may 1 million dito coming from the unissued shares. Bago siya i-offer, sasabihin ng corporation sa kanila, bago ko to i-offer sa public, offer ko muna sa inyo kasi baka interested kayo to maintain your 20% interest over the corporation. Baka lang naman gusto niyo. Kasi kung hindi mo kayo interesado, then i-offer ko dito sa public. O for example, si A, sige, kukunin ko yung 20%, hanggang 20% lang siya, hindi pwedeng lagpasan niyo. Kunin ko yung 20% ng 1 million. Offer kay A yun. O sige, sabi, ayoko. Hindi ko exercise yung preemptive right. Si, ganyan. Sa general rule, may preemptive right ang mga existing stockholders. Meaning, bago ka kumuha ng unissued at ibebenta sa public, dapat i-offer mo muna yan sa mga existing stockholders for them to choose and decide kung bibilhin ba nila o hindi yung respective 20% nila in our example. Yung 20% at ma-maintain yung kanilang ownership o interest over the corporation. Applicable din ito. For example, yun yung isang example. For example, the entire 5 million has been subscribed. Tigwa 1 million sila ngayon. Sabi nila, increase natin to. Increase sila ngayon. Dagdagan natin additional 5 million. Yung ating authorized capital stock. So magkakaroon kayo ng available na increase na 5 million. Additional 5 million. Not the original 5 million kasi the original 5 million has already been fully subscribed by the existing stockholders. So may fresh 5 million ka. Yung fresh 5 million na yan, bago mo i-offer to the public, bago mo i-offer sa third persons, merong preemptive rights yung mga stockholders dyan. Yung mga existing stockholders, again, working under the same principle that they might be interested in retaining their 20% interest over the corporation. Kung ayaw nilang ma-dilute, kasi pag in-offer yan sa kabit sa ibang tao, diretso, kunwari kay X napunta lahat ng 5 million na yan. Imagine, out of the 10 million, yung 10 million na yan, kasi 5 tsaka 5 eh. Out of the 10 million, 5 million is now owned by X, which is 50%. Ano mangyayari dyan sa other 50%? The other 50%, paghahatian nitong A, B, C, D, and E. 10% na lang sila ngayon. Yun yung iniiwasan. Yun yung gusto natin maiwasan na bigla na lang bababa yung interest ng mga existing stockholders. If they want to retain the 20%, then they should be given the opportunity to acquire the 20% of that 5 million. Ganun yung magiging sistema. Again, algebraically, that would work. That's supposedly should work. You can try yung mga combination. Pero yun yung point. Dapat hindi ma-dilute o hindi lumiit yung ownership ng mga existing stockholder. And for you to be able to achieve that, you have to honor the preemptive right. Offer mo muna sa kanila bago mo offer sa third person. Whether coming from the unissued shares of stocks or any increase in the authorized capital stock. Para mawala yung preemptive right na yan, dapat pagbotohan nila. Dapat sabihin nila, mamaya na natin pag-usapan yung pagboboto, pero kailangan na pagbotohan na wala kayong preemptive right. Kung walang ganong klaseng desisyon, the general rule is that merong preemptive rights ang mga stockholders. There is preemptive right unless denied. No? Denied. Bago tayo mapunta sa section 39, I have to distinguish. Yan. I have to distinguish preemptive right from the right of first refusal. Right of first refusal. Bakit ganito? Kasi parang meron siyang, parang similar yung mechanism between the preemptive right and right of first refusal. Pag sinabing right of first refusal, ito naman yung karapatan ng ibang stockholders na bilihin muna yung shares ng ibang stockholder bago nila ibenta sa ibang tao. Kanina yung preemptive right, yung corporation. Bago ibenta ng corporation yung unissued shares sa ibang tao, or yung additional shares because may increase in the authorized capital stock sa ibang tao, dapat i-offer mo muna siya sa mga existing stockholders proportionate to their existing interest over the corporation. Pag sinabing right of first refusal, hindi involved yung corporation. So walang kinalaman yung corporation dito. Pag sinabing right of first refusal, it is between a corporation, between a stockholder and another stockholder. So for example, si E, ibibenta niya na yung shares niya. So si E, kung merong right of first refusal, bago niya ibenta, i-offer kay X yung shares niya, kailangan niyang i-offer niya muna kay A, kay B, kay C, kay D. O bago ko ibenta, may plano na akong ibenta tong shares ko kay X, pero bago ko gawin yan, i-offer ko muna sa inyo. Kaya siya tinawag na right of first refusal. You have the right to refuse muna. I-offer ko sa inyo, pag ni-refuse niyo, sa ako ibebenta kay X. Yun yung right of first refusal. Okay. It is between and among the stockholders. Pag preemptive right, it is between the corporation and the existing stockholders. Okay. Pag sinabing preemptive right, as a general rule, andyan siya, existing yung preemptive right unless denied. Yan, pursuant to section 38. Pero ang right of first refusal, hindi siya pinipresume. As a general rule, walang right of first refusal. As a general rule. Walang right of first refusal, magkakaroon lang ng right of first refusal kapag nakalagay na merong right of first refusal doon sa, let's say, sa subscription agreement, doon sa Articles of Incorporation, might be, pwedeng ilagay doon, pwede rin ilagay sa stock certificate. Ilalagay mo sa stock certificate na yung owners ng shares na ito ay may obligasyon na i-offer muna sa mga existing stockholders bago ibenta sa ibang tao. Again, magkaiba sila. Preemptive rights ay andyan unless denied. Ang right of refusal, first refusal ay wala unless meron, unless nakalagay. Okay? Section 39, sale or other disposition of assets. So, para siyang katulad nung sa nandito, no? Yan, sa letter G. Kung meron kang kung meron kang pagmamay-ari na karapatang magmay-ari ng real or personal property, karapatan mo rin siyang i-dispose. Ang pinagkaiba lang dito sa section 39, ang pinag-uusapan ay pag-dispose ng lahat ng assets niya. To the point na wala nang maiiwan. Sale or disposition of all or essentially all of the assets or properties of that corporation. Allowed on under section 39 pero may mga botohan na kailangan mangyari. Section 40, power to acquire own shares. Ito yung sinasabi kong treasury shares. Kapag ang shares na na-issue na ay binili uli, ang tawag ng treasury, it will now be considered as an asset of the corporation. Pwede niyang ibenta uli yan, pwede niyang i-retire, pwede niyang i-declare as dividend by way of property dividends. Yan. 41, power to invest corporate funds in another corporation or business or for any other purposes. So we have already discussed this one before, no? Nung pinag-uusapan natin yung ASIMID. Actually, nandaanan natin ito lahat before. Yung ASIMID. So kapag yung ASIMID ng investment ng corporate funds in another corporation, allowed yan or for an undertaking which is not one of the purpose of the corporation or any other purpose. Allowed yan pero may botohan, again, may botohan na pagdadaanan. Power to declare dividends, may iba't ibang uri ng dividends. So we have stock dividends, cash dividends, property dividends, scrip dividends. So yung mga declaration ng dividends na yan ay kapangyarihan niya ng corporation. Again, you cannot compel a corporation to declare dividends. It will always be a discretionary upon the part of the corporation through the board of directors whether or not they will declare dividends or not. Power to enter into management contract. Again, pag sinabi management contract, ay ano siya, parang i-outsource mo. Supposedly, the management of the affairs of the corporation should be undertaken by the board of directors. But pursuant to a management contract, maaaring another corporation will enter or undertake the management of the corporation. Merong botohan na kailangan dito. Ito yung mga botohan na yun. Okay? Meron tayong 4 na grupo. I want you to take note of this discussion na to. Yung unang set ay majority vote ng board of directors coupled with a 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock or the members of the corporation. Majority from the board of directors, 2/3 from the stockholders. Pangalawang set ay majority from the board of directors, majority from the stockholders or members. First, majority 2/3. Second, majority. Yung third group, yung mga stockholders mismo ang nagde-decide. Walang corresponding vote from the board of directors. So it's just the stockholders voting 2/3 amongst themselves. And then finally, you have majority votes among the stockholders only without participation from the board of directors. Majority, 2/3. Majority, wala, 2/3, wala, majority. So for the first set, ito yung pinakamarami, yung mga desisyon na nangangailangan ng majority vote from the board at merong concurrence or approval ng stockholders representing 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock or 2/3 of the membership in case of non-stock corporations. Ano to? Pag-increase and decrease in capital stock or corporate stock, incur or creation of bonded indebtedness, sale, disposition, lease, encumbrance of all or substantially all of the corporate assets. Fourth, investment in another corporation other than the primary purpose of the corporation as indicated in the Articles of Incorporation. Amendment of the Articles of Incorporation would require majority vote ng board and 2/3 ng outstanding capital stock. the decision to enter into a merger or consolidation, the voluntary dissolution of a corporation kung creditors are affected. This one is an amendment of the revised corporation code. Dati, walang distinction. Dito, pag voluntary dissolution, meron ng distinction. Whether creditors are affected, creditors are not affected. In case of voluntary dissolution where creditors are affected, majority vote ng board and 2/3 vote ng outstanding capital stock. The decision to extend or shorten the corporate term, majority 2/3. The decision to deny the preemptive right, ito yung vote required to deny the preemptive right. If you will not be deciding upon this matter, then preemptive right will continue to exist. The majority vote of the board, 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock. The declaration of stock dividends will require 2/3 majority vote of the board, 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock. And yung matter kanina, the management contract. Tignan nyo to kasi merong management contract na majority-majority. Management contract na majority 2/3 if a stockholder or a group of stockholders own 1/3 of the capital stock of the managing corporation, or where majority of the members of the board of the managing corporation is also a majority of the board of the managed corporation. So in case of a management contract, meron tayong managed corporation at saka managing corporation. So ano na-decide kung e-enter ba sila into a management contract, itong si managed corporation. Kailangan na ba natin ng ibang corporation para mag-manage sa atin? Yun yung management contract. They can do that. It is an express power under the Articles of Incorporation, under the Revised Corporation Code rather, but we have this voting requirement. The voting requirement ay dalawa. Dalawa yan. Merong majority 2/3 at majority. Majority 2/3 siya kapag ganito yung sitwasyon. Kapag kapag 1/3, whether isa lang siya o hindi, 1/3. For example, si X. Si X ay stockholder ng managed corporation. Required ba nung si X ay 1/3 owner ng managed corporation? Hindi required yun. So pwedeng ang interest niya sa managed corporation ay mas mataas sa 1/3 or mas mababa sa 1/3. It doesn't matter. Pero kapag si X ay owner ng 1/3 ng managing corporation, then the vote required is majority board, 2/3 stockholder. Ganun din ang magiging vote required if majority of the members ng managing corporation ay majority members din ng board of directors ng managed corporation. Ibig sabihin may interlocking directors. If majority of the members of the board of directors of the managing corporation is also the majority members of the board of directors of the managed corporation. The required vote to approve the management contract is majority vote of the board of directors and 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock or the members. Okay. Differentiate natin yan dito sa pangalawa. Ito yung mga grupo, actually dalawa lang naman to. Majority vote board, majority vote of the outstanding capital stock. So sa board of directors, majority sila. Sa mga stockholders, majority rin. Entering into a management contract na hindi covered ng majority 2/3. So ibig sabihin, hindi present yung 1/3, no? Nung merong stockholder or stockholders ng managed corporation, they own 1/3, whether individually or collectively, they own 1/3 of the outstanding capital stock of the managing corporation. Kapag ganun yung nangyari, again, majority 2/3 yan. Pero kung hindi present yung ganyang klaseng sitwasyon, maaari na yung management contract ay ma-approve ng majority board, majority of the board of directors, and majority vote na lang ng outstanding capital stock. Handaan, mas madaling makuha ang majority kaysa 2/3. Allow din tong number 1 entering into a management contract if hindi existing yung interlocking board of directors. Katulad kanina, if the majority of the board of directors ng managed corporation is also majority of the managing corporation. O kapag hindi present yan, okay na tong number 1 natin na majority vote lang ng board at majority vote lang ng stockholders. Number 2, adoption, amendment, and repeal of the bylaws requires only majority decision. You have to distinguish this from the amendment of the Articles of Incorporation, which requires majority vote of the board of directors and concurrence of 2/3 vote, no? Majority of 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock. Majority 2/3 kapag Articles of Incorporation ang i-amend, pero pag bylaws ang i-amend, adoption, amendment, or repeal of the bylaws, ang requirement lamang ay majority. Kasi mas madali lang naman talaga i-amend ang bylaws kaysa Articles of Incorporation, kasi Articles of Incorporation is more, I'm not saying na inferior yung bylaws, pero yung legal effects, kumbaga, ng isang Articles of Incorporation, yung Articles of Incorporation ang nagbigay buhay sa isang corporation, not the bylaws. In fact, sa organization ng isang corporation, pwedeng meron ka munang Articles of Incorporation habang wala pa muna yung bylaws. Allowed yun kasi mabubuhay ang corporation nang wala pa muna siyang bylaws. No? Mabibigyan siya ng certificate of registration ng SEC. Pero again, just to reiterate, majority 2/3 ang required to amend the articles, majority kapag bylaws ang i-amend. Dito, sa set ng mga decisions na ito, yung stockholders representing 2/3 lang ang of the outstanding capital stock lang ang nagde-decide. Walang participation on the part of the board of directors. Una, the delegation of the board to the board the power to amend the bylaws. Yung amendment ng bylaws pwedeng ibigay sa board of directors. Again, as a general rule, if you want to amend the bylaws, kailangan bumoto majority of the members of the board. Pero by 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock, pwedeng i-delegate yung decision to amend the bylaws ng mga board of directors lang. Hindi na kami mag-participate yung mga stockholders if 2/3 of them, 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock will delegate that power to amend the bylaws to the board of directors na lang. The power to remove a member of the board of directors requires 2/3 vote. Kaka-discuss lang nito sa previous lecture videos. Again, hiwalay ito sa power to call for a meeting. The power to call for a meeting only requires majority vote of the outstanding capital stock. But to actually remove, yung tatanggalin mo na talaga siya, requires 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock. Third, no, to ratify a business opportunity entered into by a member of the board of directors. So, napag-usapan natin before, no, sa previous lecture videos natin, na kapag itong member ng board na ito, sinulot niya, di ba? Sinulot niya, tawag natin corporate opportunity doctrine. Yung supposedly nakikitain ng corporation pursuant to that contract, ang kumita na lang ay yung board of directors, no? Di ba? Meron siyang obligation na i-account yung profits at ibigay yung profits na yan sa corporation. Pero by 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock, pwedeng okay na, pabayaan na yan. Pwedeng i-ratify, no? Pwedeng i-cleanse yung defect na iyon. Okay. Number 4, sa 2/3 vote na outstanding capital stock only, the ratification of contracts of self-dealing directors where his presence is required to constitute a quorum and or his vote is required for the approval by the board of directors. So, naaalala sana ninyo, meron tayong discussion before na kapag ang director, kapag ang isang kontrata ay ang kakontrata rather ng corporation ay isang director, ang tawag doon ay self-dealing director. Yan ay voidable. No? Yan ay voidable upon the instance of the corporation. Pero mawawala yung kanyang pagiging voidable um, if una, hindi required yung presence niya to constitute a quorum. Pangalawa, if hindi required yung vote niya to approve the contract, and the term of the contract ay fair and reasonable. Pero kahit na yung presence niya ay required to constitute a quorum, kahit na yung vote niya ay required para ma-approve yung kontrata na yan, okay lang yan if it will be ratified by 2/3 vote of the outstanding capital stock. Pwede lang okay na yan kahit na self-dealing director siya. Basta 2/3 ang boboto for the approval of that contract. Okay? And then finally, final group ito of decision kung saan ang mag-decide ay majority of the outstanding capital stock. Walang participation on the part of the board of directors. To revoke the delegation or the delegated power to amend the bylaws. Kanina, para ibigay mo yung kapangyarihan doon sa board of directors na sila na lang ang mag-a-amend ng bylaws, 2/3 vote yun. Pero para mabawi mo yung kapangyarihan na yun, na yung directors na lang ang mag-a-amend ng bylaws, mas mababa yung required. Mas madali siyang bawiin. Majority lang. Okay. Again, level ito. Sana nasusundan natin. Pag mag-a-amend ka ng bylaws, 2 boto ang kailangan. Majority vote ng board of directors plus majority vote of the outstanding capital stock. Pwedeng mawala na yung majority vote of the outstanding capital stock. Ibig sabihin, ang mag-decide na lang kung i-amend ba o hindi ang bylaws, i-approve ba yung amendment o hindi. Yung board na lang, wala na yung stockholders. If the stockholders, by 2/3 vote, will delegate that power to the board of directors. 2/3 vote para mabigay sa kanila yon. So pag nabigay yon, the board can always amend the bylaws even without the majority vote of the board of directors, of the stockholders on record, outstanding capital stock. Yung kapangyarihan na binigay doon sa board of directors to amend the bylaws without the corresponding vote of the outstanding capital stock ay maaaring mabawi kung boboto sila by majority vote. So, yung pagbibigay, pagde-delegate, medyo mahirap siyang makuha kasi 2/3 vote ang kailangan mo para makuha yon, para ma-delegate siya. Pero para mabawi mo, once delegated, mas madali yung pagbawi kasi majority vote lang ang kailangan para mabawi mo yung dinelegate mo na power sa board of directors to amend the bylaws. Not the articles of incorporation. The power to amend the articles of incorporation cannot be delegated to the board of directors. It will always require the amendment of the articles of incorporation will always require the vote of the outstanding capital of the stockholders. Second, to call a special meeting to remove the directors. Ito yung pagpapatawag lang. Majority ang kailangan para magpatawag ka ng meeting for the purpose of removing an erring director. Pero, again, to reiterate, 2/3 vote ang kailangan para actual na matanggal siya. To fix the compensation of directors, na pag-usapan natin to before, supposedly, ang mga director ay walang sweldo, pero kung gusto niyong bigyan ng sweldo, it will require a majority vote of the outstanding capital stock. To fix the issue price or stated value of no par value shares requires the majority vote of the outstanding capital stock. Okay? Kung gusto niyo ng recap, again, may technology tayo. You can always rewind yung ating video. And final topic on powers of corporations is a discussion on what we call Ultraviolets Acts. What are Ultraviolets Acts? Ultraviolets Acts are those which cannot be executed or performed by a corporation because they are not within its express, inherent, or implied powers as defined by the Charter or the Articles of Incorporation. Accordingly, it may be subject to a collateral attack, questioning the authority of the corporation to engage in such particular endeavor. So last slide na to. Meron tayong 3 grupo ng powers. Express, implied, inherent. Express, implied, inherent. So 3 grupo siya. Technically, express nakalatag na eh. Implied related dun sa express. Inherent kailangan mo talaga. So medyo malawak na nga yung malawak na yung discretion mo kung ano ba yung mga powers sa isang corporation. Pero kung meron pa rin siyang ginawa, yung corporation, yung mga director, they still came up with a resolution authorizing the performance of an act which is not considered part of the express power, not an inherent power, not an implied power of the corporation, whether in the Articles of Incorporation or in the Revised Corporation Code. Wala talaga. Hindi niya karapatan hindi niya pwedeng gawin yung bagay na yun. Ang tawag dyan ay Ultraviolets Act. Ultraviolets Act. So, anong gagawin pag Ultraviolets Act? It's not within the authority of the corporation to perform. It is subject to a collateral attack. Naalala na ninyo yung collateral attack na pag-usapan na natin yan before. Pwedeng questionin yung validity nung ano nangyayari? Pwedeng questionin yung validity nung mga ng mga Ultraviolets Act na yan. Pwede siyang ipa-invalidate. Kumbaga, pwede mo siyang ipa-invalidate. Yun yung nature ng Ultraviolets Act. Eh. Pero, para ipa-invalidate mo siya, kailangan pa rin mag-file ng action in court to question the validity of that Ultraviolets Act. Okay? So that's it. Yun yung powers ng corporation, express, implied, and inherent. Enumerate tayo, and then ano yung mga mangyayari kapag yung kanilang ginawa ay hindi express, implied, or inherent. So yun yung discussion natin for powers of a corporation. If you have additional questions regarding this one, I am encouraging you to read the exact provisions of the law. Kung meron kayong questions, kung meron kayong hindi maintindihan about the powers of the corporation, you can always post your questions here sa YouTube, pwede rin, or as i-comment here in the YouTube channel. Wow, may pag-ganun-ganun pa ako. Or sa ating private Zoom classroom. Okay? Thank you for listening to this lecture video and see you on the next video. Goodbye.